Hello, I am the gaming superhero, and today we are making a kit for Iron Man's right-hand man, War Machine. Iron Man is my favorite Marvel hero, or at least he is when I don't want to go into a long explanation of who my actual first is, because they are pretty obscure, which includes now. Rhodey also qualifies as one of the first ever legacy characters, given he took over the Iron Man role in 1983 before becoming War Machine, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get into his first appearance as War Machine, because that's what the people want. Also, shout out to the people who guessed it. We have Biggle on the Discord, who got it correctly. Nobody on Twitter or Bluesky, I guess. No? Okay, yeah, that's it. Oh, and then we have Vitamin D Cosplay, who spelled it a bit interestingly, but I'm gonna count that. I'm gonna give it to him on that one. And then I guess fuck it. If I'm gonna give him that, then I'm gonna give Leo the Chase the Mistmaster for Scrody, even though that's not entirely, but whatever. If I'm gonna give Woe Machine, I guess I gotta give it to Scrody as well. So that's 3 people who got it correctly in a pretty roundabout way, but whatever. With that out of the way, let's get into his first appearance. James Rupert Rhodes first appeared in Iron Man number 118, but he was just a normie back then. So, he then first appears as Iron Man in Iron Man number 170 in 1983, as previously stated, until we finally get to his first appearance as War Machine in West Coast Avengers number 94 in 1993, meaning he was Iron Man for like a full decade, which is crazy. Also, he will later first appear as Iron Patriot in Gambit number 13 because Rhodey is a first appearance slut. But back to West Coast Avengers, we open with US Agent, back so soon! Mockingbird and Clint Barton as Goliath, which is insane. How the fuck did that happen? Anyway, they are fighting battle droids and a cyber tank, and are struggling until your boy arrives to save them, confusing him for Iron Man, but I guess that is entirely reasonable given there is a good chance he has been the only Iron Man they even actually interacted with. But no, he says he has ditched Tony after finding out he had faked his death instead of actually dying like a good friend would. He is War Machine now. He then steals a Quinjet for the West Coast Avengers from Tony Stark in order to go to Demonica, a new island run by a supervillain named Demonicus, because of course it is. First, they pick up Spider-Woman, Scarlet Witch, and Darkhawk. Then upon arriving, they fight a large conglomerate of D-list villains that I do not have the bandwidth to list because there are just so many. The heroes are winning when the villains use a plane full of passengers they kidnapped earlier to convince the heroes to leave. They also keep US Agent and Mockingbird as an assurance the heroes won't just immediately come back. The villains then take the heroes to a cave where they summon their demon overlord, Raksasa, a big bug thing. The heroes then escape, and we end on demon bat things being sent to destroy Hawaii. Just like in Lilo&Stitch, the new hit movie Lilo&Stitch, that is very topical at this very time, Lilo&Stitch. Fuck the live action remakes. I fucking hate those things. Anyway, a real good intro to the War Machine, given a clear explanation for how we got here. Actually, I was kind of worried he would just show up with everyone expected to know what has happened with him, but they didn't. They explained it. After the intro, he kind of fades into the background, but given how many other characters are involved here, I really can't blame the story for that one. But on to the kit. I have made him a tank, which is both against what a lot of people have thought and completely in line with them, because I swear people go back and forth between tank and duelist for him, but I landed on tank to help differentiate him from Iron Man. His primary fire is his wrist guns that have a widespread but decent damage, meant for more close-range battle to encourage him to tank, get in the enemy's face. We then have his secondary fire, which is his shoulder chain gun, which does damage in a precision bullet stream for long-range engagements, because of course, War Machine has 2 guns. What are you, crazy? One for close range, low aim skill, another for long range high aim skill. He's also a flying character like Iron Man or Ultron. He also has a movement ability similar to Iron Man. He flies forward at an increased speed and gains an exclusive ability. But instead of rockets, he drops bombs that will deal a small amount of damage, but mostly will drop smoke screens that block enemy vision for a few seconds. The smoke will appear more translucent for allies, so as not to block their vision. But it doesn't stop there. He also has a melee ability, Stun Baton. You can guess what that does. He smacks an enemy and they are stunned for 1 second. Just a quick one, to knock enemy flyers out of the sky or deny certain ultimates. I'm not sure if this should have a cooldown or if the clunkiness of trying to get consecutive melees as a flying character is sufficient prevention of cheese. I guess I'll let you decide. No passive unless constant flight counts, which it may or may not according to the official website, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't. Ability 1 is Concussive Blast. Send out a sonic blast that will damage and slow enemies for a short duration. Inspired by that time he did it in Civil War to Scarlet Witch. A very nice way to tank is to tank that isn't just being a damage sponge. You can also, disrupt the enemies. Thinking this will be like a pretty widespread, so like a cone having a certain range. So beyond a certain point it won't affect any enemies at all, so you gotta find the sweet spot between affecting enemies and also having like the maximum amount of radius to get all of them in that same space. It's a little tricky, I imagine, but still, it's very much worth it for the effect of getting the whole team. Ability 2 is Care Package. Shoot a projectile that will create an area of effect that will give allies bonus health and increase the amount of damage enemies take. This is an ability to tank by being a damage sponge, if indirectly, but can also be used as an offensive tool if so desired. So if you want to be aggressive duelist like War Machine, you have that option. Can also be pretty cool because if you shoot it at the enemy, like say you're trying to retake a point, you can shoot at the enemy and so they, have increased damage taken, kill them while they're in the space, move up, and then enter the space to gain that sort of bonus health as you progress. So an incentive to move forward and make it easier to take and stand the ground once in the space. It can be really cool. Really cool uses can be gained out of this ability. I really like it. Ability 3 is Missile Barrage. Fire 3 missiles that deal some damage but are mostly useful for the knockback they do. Going back to the idea of tanking through crowd control and disruption rather than just sitting in front and getting shot at. It's also good for getting environmental kills, which are always fun to go for. It also, just as an example, is like a 3-burst Farah Concussive Blast for better context. So you shoot it out and the enemies just get knocked around like crazy. The ultimate is No Man's Land. Shoot missiles that will shoot missiles up into the air, but then they come straight back down, and they will create a field on the ground below him that will deal damage over time and slow enemies while also creating a smoke field to block enemy vision, like his movement ability. This is to bring it all together, the ultimate area denial tool that can be used for you and your allies to benefit even if not placed on top of enemies due to the, thanks to the smoke screen effect. It could also be cool if the higher War Machine is, the wider his missiles will spread out, but the individual missile zones don't get any bigger. So if you want to make one big zone, you have to be closer to the ground, or if you want multiple zones around in a wider area, fly higher and activate your ult, making it very dynamic and unique to a tank that flies. Similar to, the Concussive Blast earlier, where the closer you are, the smaller the area of effect is. Finally, I gave him a team up because I believe a big part of the War Machine fantasy is just having a lot of stuff. The team up is with Ultron and Iron Man called the Iron Legion. With at least 2 characters from the team up selected, they all gain the ability to summon an Iron Legionnaire to do one of 2 things. Give you a personal shield for a few seconds, or act as a turret to shoot the enemy closest to you. They both share a long cooldown, so you have to choose wisely which you use when. Inspired by the Age of Ultron movie, where all 3 appear with the Iron Legion. Plus, it is a concept I think could be really cool for a team-up that has you have to decide how it benefits you. Do you use it offensively or defensively? Choices. Very, very hard choices. But that concludes my kit for War Machine. I really focused on giving him a full kit to sort of match his look and feel by being a walk-in, or in this case, flying arsenal. I love how this came out. I was a little nervous with how non-lethal the kit was, but I knew it had to be that way or else it would just be a duelist. He needed abilities that were for tanking, not killing. But I think I found a nice middle ground with them being based around pretty aggressive tank play, enabling the team to move forward and take space rather than just hold the line. Although he can do that too, a lot of this ended up being inspired by the Civil War movie, with the concussive blast and stun baton, both just being ripped from that movie, but also I think it acts as a good example of War Machine being capable of utility and not just pure killing power. But let me know what you think. Do you think he should have been a really tricked out duelist, or do you agree he works as a tank? War Machine is probably my favorite superhero sidekick, if you want to consider him one, which I do, but I can see an argument against it given his introduction as War Machine was hating Iron Man, but they got better and, work together all the time now. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope to see you in the Discord to chat about all kinds of stupid shit. We have been raving about that new Marvel fighting game that was revealed yesterday. Oh my god. But yeah, so if you want to get in on stuff like that, enter the Discord. There's a link that shouldn't go bad in the description. I believe I set it to never expire, so it should be good. But with that, you're welcome for dropping it.
Like, boom, you looking for this?